Okay, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, the Monday, May 27th, 2025 regular meeting of the Village Council will come to order. We begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're able, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Maxam. Here. Commissioner Nero.
Here.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Here.
Commissioner Vogt. Here. Mayor Hoskins.
Here. Okay, approval of the minutes from the May 12th regular meeting of the council. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxham. Is there a second?
Sure, Nero second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion. Okay, there's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxam.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Okay, we're at public comment.
Thomas Kovac. You're gonna need to, oh, never mind. Got it. Yeah.
You guys somewhat know who I am. I got one leg in Chicago and one in Maryland. My Irish family in Maryland goes back to the Revolutionary War. We were pre-famine Irish. My great-grandfather was.
You have
buried-
3 minutes, Mr. Kovacs.
I get it. Make it quick. Complex background, ethnically and otherwise. Been around a lot of black folks all my life. College roommate was a black guy. I know what it was to sit next to a black man driving while black in rural racist Indiana. I lived it. I'm strongly opposed to this proposal to amend the zoning code. This thing is a piece of garbage. No, I did not attend these meetings of about a year ago. I was at my sister, her husband was going under 2 open heart surgeries. And then when I returned, I was given the wrong date for the plan commission meeting. At the wrong date. So it already took place by the time I found out about it. So I wasn't there for those. This is no good. It will create more crap. We'll have more high rises. I don't want any more monstrosity. No 60-foot buildings with 0 setbacks. It is awful. And unlike what was in the newspaper, there are 9 R3 districts that abut R2 and R1. And these supposed cures for non-conforming. You do not have to approve new buildings to grandfather existing buildings to make them better off. It's not needed to do that. We don't need to sanction 2 families in an R1 district. As far as I'm concerned, they totally screwed up the R3. They took away what protections I have for my single family on Franklin Street. They ripped it out. And they made existing 2 families now prohibited. So I don't know how that improves a non-conforming situation. It makes no sense to me. This stuff is crazy. I was asking someone to come talk to me. I have decades of experience in zoning, reviewing hundreds of real estate development loans, thousands of mortgage loans. I am professionally trained in commercial and residential real estate valuation. I'm a highly qualified person. No one's ever contacted me. No one. The newspaper, nobody. Why not? I can show you what doesn't make sense here. And this doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kovacs. Is that all public comment?
That's it. That's the only one that I have.
All right, commissioners, there are no formal communications in front of the council this evening. Under department reports, we have 2 reports, one from the police department, one from the fire department. Commissioners, would anyone like to comment on either department report?
I would like to comment on the police and fire departments reports. May has been a month where we have observed the contributions formally of our police, our fire, and our EMS departments. We've advocated for them in Springfield, and we have followed up with our legislators and advocated for our police and fire. I want to, first of all, thank the mayor in particular for his diligence in following up with our legislators for the needs for our fire department. But in particular, this month, in this report for our police and fire, we have seen the tremendous activity and the dedication of our first responders and the work that they do not only on behalf of our community, but the shared responsibility they have in our shared service area. And I, for one, was very moved by the commendations, awards of valor, and recognition of our police department. And I want to thank them for their extraordinary service to our community and our surrounding community. It means a lot to me as a public official to support our community and to serve our community with these dedicated individuals and our first responders in general for the work that they do. They say it's another day on the job for them. And to me, it's not. And I wanted to say that I saw that and I thank them for their service.
Thank you, Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Anything else, commissioners? Any other reactions to the department reports? No? Okay. We're going to move on to bills by resolution. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Forest Park, Cook County, Illinois, that we dispense with the reading of the individual bills inasmuch as each department head has approved and signed bills and the following aggregate amount for their respective departments. Refunds and allocations, $17,201.45. Public Affairs, $18,202.34. Police Department, $4,900.90. Community Center, $2,038.19. Accounts and Finance Clerk's Office, $209,575.52. Accounts and Finance Fire Department, $745.73. Department of Health and Safety, $11,265.75. Streets and Public Improvements, $12,651.14. Public Property, $3,994.18. Seizure, I lost my place. Seizure, $3,994.18. Police DUI, $19,059.49. Federal Customs, $32,174.24. TIF, $188.26. VIP, $326,716.30. Water Department, $562,222.55, for a total of $1,260,157.36.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, is there a motion to adopt the resolution on the bills? Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second?
Nero, second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Aye. Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution R-49-25.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, there's no unfinished business tonight. So we're moving down to new business. The first item is an ordinance amending Title 9, Chapter 3 of the Village of Forest Park zoning code. Is there a motion?
Well, yes, sir. Nero will make that motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
Yes, I will second.
Okay, it's been seconded by Commissioner Maxham. Discussion.
This ordinance has, I think, created a lot of healthy discussion on the council and a lot of discussion in the local Forest Park Review. I will start by just observing that I think we have some information that has been shared. I know I've received information that has made me a more informed council member, being the newest on our council. I am still, I think I've hit my halfway mark, which makes me, I have my sea legs, but I still need, so I have information about how public health and safety works. But I still do not have information that I need to vote on this ordinance. And I have had discussions and emails back and forth asking for information. And I think one of the things that I find when I review policies and information that I need is when we review policies and procedures, and as a policymaker, especially for something that's this important and will have such a far-reaching impact, there is typically more documentation that is provided. And there's not enough documentation for me as a policymaker to understand how decisions were arrived at. And when I have asked for additional information, I have been told that people smarter than me have come up with this information. And this is an important way to go. And I realize that I'm not a zoning expert. I realize that this is not what I do for a living. And believe me when I say I respect the folks and the process that went into this. I think I have made that abundantly clear in writing and in discussions that I've had. However, as a council member, I sit here and I have to cast a vote. And when I cast a vote on things that are this important, I take my time and I research and review things because I represent residents and I represent the community now and in the future that need to trust that I represent not just my interests, but their interests and the interests of people who are going to make decisions for the next decade or two or three. And I do understand why we need to do this, and I want these regulations to be updated. I don't, I think we can do that. But there are things here that in my research and in my review are missing. So I need to, I can provide guidelines and guidance specifically to allow that to take place. But there are things that right now, the way I see it, when the current regulations or the current guidelines that exist, which specifically say, when I very old school, take out my ruler and draw the lot sizes that are specified that we allow, which the zoning regulations, I know, they're old as I am, would be, you know, the minimum lot sizes would shrink. And the allowable house or building sizes would expand depending on your lot size specified substantially. And I draw those boxes. When you shrink a box size and you expand the building size, I don't know how you draw it any other way than you decrease the available green space and you increase density. I don't know, and I have Googled experts in building and density and neighborhoods and whatever, and I come up with experts who tell me the same thing. Now, again, I'm a policymaker, I'm not a zoning expert, I get that. But I have to vote and I have an important role to play. So we're all part of the process and we have a role to play in doing this. So I am most concerned with two things or three things. And the, you know, I'm concerned with density, lot width. And I think the idea that we are putting more buildings, more residences, more space, more buildings in the same amount of space that we have is a concern. We are reducing the space between those buildings. If you look at the side setbacks are changing quite substantially in my view. And again, I'm representing my view as a policymaker. I have the most concern about the lot coverage on R3. I have the fact that we do not allow or have no minimum front setback for R3. And in the current code, as I read it, there is a specification that says the taller the building, the more setback you provide. And the way that, and that's for institutional buildings. Again, I don't read code all day, but basically what it says is we have tall buildings and we allow for setback to give us space between those buildings. The way that I read what is here is we have thinner lot sizes, less space between them, and more space for building on those lots taken up by buildings. And we are making those buildings slightly taller, but we are building more on those buildings, on those lots. So again, smaller boxes for lots, more buildings on those spots. I'd like us to look at that and to say, what is the kind of community that we want? The more properties we have in Forest Park, property taxes are implicated. Housing affordability will go up, increased housing costs, and it has an impact on climate change. These are things I'm personally concerned about. And again, I want these changes to be made to make the make it easier to conduct real estate transactions. I want more properties to come in line. But so far we have a code as I read it that is saying that we are taking some of the character of Forest Park and taking that away from who we are as a community. But but we need to think about the kind of neighborhoods we want to live in. We want to value the environment that we have. And in general, we live in the sixth most populous state in the country. Birth rates are declining in general. And our population density is approaching the state of California already. And that's according to the US Census. So I don't think we need to pack us in to the extent that that we are proposing as allowable in this proposed dimensional regulations. And I know that these are guidelines. I understand that. But what we're saying as allowable is what we say we will allow. And I think we can create an environment that gives us more character and not as much density. And I just want to say that I have, I think, been respectful and collegial, and I want these zoning changes to be made. But I think these observations are important, and they reflect who Forest Park is and who we want to be in the future. I've also provided data about climate change and what Illinois scientists expect in the future for climate change, and how we want to respect each other as neighbors and businesses, and create an environment that respects all of us. So, yeah, so I think that's a good place to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Melvin Rogovan. Is there any other discussion among commissioners? Okay,
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
Commissioner Nero.
So, yep, somewhere in there, I agree with you on in the beginning there on the communication. I thought there was some good, healthy back and forth with emails and discussions, whether that was in person, phone conversations and emails either through or to myself or Steve Glinke. Steve and I have met. I've talked with Jessica, Maria, and Michelle at some point regarding, this is going back 7 months now. But I think what would be appropriate is there's been a lot of time that's passed. I think there's some things, Michelle, during your comments there that some may be correct, but some I think need to be maybe looked at through the context of a bigger picture with and looking at the zoning map with how it's tied together with the proposed zoning changes and some other stuff. But I'm not going to belabor it. What I would really like to do is invite Director Glinke up to maybe create a little context, maybe refresh folks' memory, and provide some insights into some of the questions that were proposed over the last
Commissioner,
7 months.
after everyone's made their comments, then the chair will call staff up if we need to. Okay, but go ahead and finish your comments.
That is the end of my comment. Part of my comment was to include Director Glinke's report. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other comments from commissioners? Anything? You get to speak on the topic. Everybody gets to speak on the topic. Everyone gets to voice your opinion on this topic. Commissioner Vogt.
Thanks. I will say that I agree with Commissioner Nero. This has been a long time has passed. But my requests and questions have gone unaddressed. I've checked in numerous times. I've provided examples, but it just seems like nothing has happened. I haven't been provided any of that information or, I definitely asked, to see early on when I had questions and this information couldn't be provided to me, that sort of led to, kind of highlighting, I think, some errors in the process, or where communication was lacking. When I did ask to know what information, analysis data was used to inform these recommendations, I was never provided that. So we still don't know how changes like this would affect, for instance, the impact of stormwater, heavy rain events, increased density, the decrease of permeability. I haven't seen any of sort of where that information was collected or referenced or analyzed. I also had requested that there be more public outreach. There was no public comment. At least the one meeting where there was a transcript, it indicated that there was no public comment. I think one of the members made a joke about how no one was there. So that's a little concerning. We definitely want community engagement. And we've seen, like, I think Commissioner Nero said, 7 months. That's certainly been time where we had that opportunity to do more outreach and to better explain what is proposed in these zoning changes, and none of that happened. So that is concerning, and it's especially concerning to me to have to consider a proposal like this without it, because it is in direct conflict with the comprehensive plan. It'd be one thing if some of that community engagement and data analysis and collection and everything had happened, and they could say, Forest Park is completely changed. We're super excited to become more urban. We're super excited to increase density. The bigger, the better. And if that was, a resounding response from the community, I am here to represent the community. But we don't have that information. And we have this comp plan, and this is what we have to go off of. And this is in complete, conflict with the recommendations in it. So again, without information to inform my decision, and we are the, policymakers here, and we have to take the hard votes, and we're the ones on the record as that, final call to say yes or no. So I want to be as informed as I can be, and I want to have all that information. And I certainly, when you say small town charm, big city access, and you look at the comp plan and all of that stuff, and these recommended changes, especially our, 2 and our 3, really, bump up that coverage, that density, and we just don't have that information to say how that's going to impact us. And also we were told that the zoning map needs to be updated. So again, like, why aren't we doing that at the same time? Or, it's just, a lot of this seems a little haphazard, and we don't have, we haven't seen an audit review that was done by anybody to say, like, we've audited the whole code, and these are the recommended changes that we think we should do, and here's the phases we're going to do them. We don't have any formal process that we can look at and consult with when we do have questions. And so that is sort of my biggest concern. These were the concerns we shared when we tabled this months ago, and they haven't been addressed. So I would say my role as an elected official, it's, my duty to make these decisions in the best interest of the village and the people I represent. And I need to be as informed as possible to do that. And that's just hasn't happened. I would say, moving forward, we have to define what process we're comfortable with, because this process isn't working. And I still, to this, date, I've been asking for a couple of years now for a running total of what we've spent on this, and I haven't been able to get that. So, you know, I am a little afraid that, you know, this has been a costly lesson to learn that the process isn't working, but I think we really need to reevaluate how we want to update this code going forward, because I do think it needs to happen, but it needs to happen in a very transparent, defined way.
Thank you, Commissioner Vogt. Commissioner Maxim, do you have anything?
So at the last meeting in October, I was the third vote to table it, and I went on record and said that I was comfortable voting for it. But if two of my fellow commissioners felt so strongly that there was outstanding information they needed to feel comfortable, that I wasn't going to force something through without them having that information they needed. I am disappointed, and I'm not blaming anyone. I'm disappointed. I think that in these months since then, the questions haven't been answered. I don't know, you know, I can't speak at all to why that happened, but it's very disappointing that we haven't been able to get to a point where people feel comfortable that their questions were answered. I mean, if you're, you know, saying I asked questions and didn't get answers, that's a pretty big deal. And that's disappointing to me. I think I still feel how I did before, that given the fact that the PZC spent a lot of time working on this, and I know that those weren't recorded meetings and they're going to be recorded now, you know, moving forward. I don't think we should, you know, to use a phrase, throw out the baby with the bathwater. You know, I think that could the process have been better? Yes. But I also don't think taking hours, you know, of work that was put into this by, you know, professionals within our community, and saying, you know, and the recommendation of staff, and saying, you know, no, I don't think this is what we want to do. I'm not comfortable doing that. So I am interested, if I would really like to hear from Director Glinke also, if that's allowed. Thank you.
Does staff want to say anything?
Is this is about smart growth. This is about community development. This is about growing the local economy. This is about meeting our new buying demographic. Commissioner, you talked, you know, you use the word density, but I don't hear any quantification of the downside of density. People are buying houses. Homeowners now have children living with them much longer. Okay. We've got several 2-flats that are family owned where the children are living on the second floor. Older adults are taking care of their parents. Okay, so we have a very changing demographic. From 2020 to 2024, Forest Park's population went down 3.4%. Okay. Folks with school-age children are not buying in town, or they're buying at a much lower rate. Our buying demographic right now is young professionals, no kids, and empty nesters from Oak Park and River Forest. I'm working with 3 families right now on gut improvements. The few, and I do believe I mentioned this back in October, the very few opportunities to build. I went and took a little time on the, you want to take the top 2 and pass them down? Did a lot with MAP that shows 76% of the lots in Forest Park are not conforming to the code. Okay, and if there's a lack of clarity on what the non-conforming label does, I believe I addressed that in October. You know, please ask. Of that, 802 of those lots are 25 feet. So the 25-foot is, it's not a boogeyman. It's not something to be scared of. Now, what this process is not, is a hall pass for unrestrained development. Okay, it's a small part of a very big, a much bigger process. That process after we do by right. Okay, so let's say theoretically we can build on 25-foot lots. That undergoes 2 rounds of third-party reviews from both our building consultants and our engineering. And simply put, if you can't manage stormwater on site, you're not going to build it. Okay, it's just not going to happen. Now, case in point, 949 Beloit, the townhomes. We had a lot of discussion during process about on-site stormwater management. Remember that Ed's Way was 100% non-pervious. The design is now 30% permeable. The drive aisle is brick pavers in the middle, and it's 8 feet of 3-inch stone. That's going to hold a lot of water before it reaches the outlet to the combined. Okay, that's the kind of thought that goes into development after the zoning. So if you take a look at the lot width map, you'll notice a couple of lots, not even one per block, with little hash marks, little diagonal hash marks. Those are lots of record that do not have a structure on them. Those are not buildable lots, but they are lots of record that don't have a structure on them. Now, the interesting part about that, I drove these over the last 2 days, and many of them are 50-foot lots that receive 2 tax bills. So principal structures on one lot and the other lot's empty, or it straddles both lots. And for some reason, the homeowner decided not to do a plat of consolidation. Also, the attribution on this is from the county's GIS system is this is from 2008. So 17 years of development, almost a third of these have already been built on. Okay, so when I say this is not going to be unrestrained development, I mean, physically, the town can't accommodate that. But we do need to address putting product on the market that's meeting our new demands. And our new demands, again, are young professionals and empty nesters from the adjacent communities. I think 76% is a pretty impressive number. And again, density is not a boogeyman. There's not a downside to density. It's not going to make it harder to move around here. If you can quantify your concerns around density, I'd be happy to address them. Commissioner Vogt, these recommendations started with the recommendation from our award-winning women-owned urban planner. Okay, that's where we get our guidance from. She's the one that provides direction for the PZC and staff. And this is the stuff that was vetted in 4 public meetings. So I reject the lack of transparency of this process. Does anybody have any questions about this? I mean, I think it sort of speaks volumes here. And the simple fact is, if you can't build it to code, you're not going to build it at all. Okay, we're talking about on a 25-foot lot, and actually there's only one buildable 25-foot lot right now. We're talking about 235 square feet of additional land coverage. It's a non-issue. And I know that flooding gets a lot of hype in town, but the people that have been around for 40 years remember 1-inch rains where everybody's basement flooded. We've got 2 sewer separation projects. I know we can't do it, all at once because of the financial constraints, but we've got 2 sewer separation projects. We've hit 15 years now of a dedicated flood grant program where people get half of their flood prevention put in. We don't hear from those people anymore. We don't hear from those people. It's easy to throw out that this is going to cause flooding, but that doesn't show any insight as the full process, the zoning, the engineering, the third-party consultant reports. I'm happy to take questions.
Commissioner Vogt, you have,
I just want to thank you for sharing this. I wish we'd got it sooner, but you know, ultimately, you're making the case for why this process needs to be you know, clearly defined and better pursued. All of this is as far as we know, because we haven't been provided anything, you know, anecdotal observations. And our award-winning, you know, consultant, they certainly have done enough of these that they would know that a proper audit and, you know, presenting that to the council for approval to move forward is, you know, basic good practice. But ultimately, you know, just telling stories about how no one calls and complains about water anymore, you know, we've done a lot of really hard work to try to stop flooding and stop people's basements from flooding. And to say that it's working is like going on a huge diet and working out and getting really fit and then saying, well, I'm really fit now, so it's back to pizza every day. You know, this needs to be a formal, defined process. You know, cite these sources. All we've asked is that you share that information that inform these recommendations, and we haven't received that. You know, 949 Beloit worked and was successful because it had to go through the process to apply for a variance. Had they just been allowed by right, if, you know, this were passed, they never would have put in that stormwater capture strip down the parking lot. That
not
was the
accurate.
request. It is. I was in that meeting where the zoning asked for it, and then I was in the meeting where I asked for it and said, we need to consider stormwater. And they said, we're willing to put in this strip. So that came through the process. By right, it probably wouldn't have been there. It wasn't there in the original. You know, and to say we just have a couple buildable lots, we have a lot of space, including the Altenheim that isn't developed. And I have noticed just by driving around town and looking at for sale, houses for sale, that I'm seeing a lot of charming Forest Park homes that have been bought for pennies, have been torn down, and a very expensive, giant edge-to-edge house has gone up in their place. So those aren't empty lots waiting to be built. Those are homes that are being torn down, and then these $800,000 homes are going up, which certainly some people like that it's increasing their property values, but it's also hitting us a little bit in the tax bill. But you know, to say that it's going to be small isn't the case, because we're already seeing it now. We're already seeing those get approved. I've noticed a lot of these houses where you can't even get your, you know, lawnmower from the backyard to the front yard because they're so close to the property line. So to say these dramatic changes are what people want, we need to do the homework and the hard work of having the community weigh in and say, these are the changes that we want to make, and we want, you know, the village to start looking like this and not that, or we're comfortable with this, or our hard work on, you know, reducing flooding and helping to better manage our stormwater is working so well that I can show you through whatever studies you want to show that, you know, putting a 6-story structure with, and now the required minimum space per apartment. So increased apartments, increased people, increased toilets, increased showers, increased laundry. Like, we can say that that's not going to have any effect on it. And we can't right now. And these are, you know, the concerns that I think a lot of us, several of us have with this process, and it needs to be redefined, and we need to know what, how we're going to do these updates in a way that brings the community along with us.
Director Glinke, I have a question. Looking at the map that we have here, and we have 76% of the lots that you've identified, including the lot that I live on, is between 25 and 49 feet wide. And then we have 17% that's 50 and above. So the current proposed lot widths, if we adopted the 25-foot lot width, wouldn't, as I read this, and maybe, there's something that you can tell me, wouldn't the lot width, as proposed, put the tan in the realm of a potential developer in the future to say, maybe I would go as a developer and say, I would like, if it were okay, to purchase a lot or two, perhaps seek a variance to put up a, an allowable structure or two on a lot, because the minimum lot width would now be 25 feet and I'd have 49 feet. Like in my case, my lot width is, I think, 45 feet. Perhaps on my street, there are condo, and a couple of houses. So maybe somebody in the future could say, well, I die or decide to retire to Florida and my neighbors moved, they could purchase the two houses with this new lot width, minimum lot width. They would be able to put up a condo.
No, that's not accurate.
I'm asking a question. So you're saying,
These are, okay, there's three categories. There's low density, medium density, and high density.
okay,
And, let's look together at this one.
okay.
Okay.
So as proposed,
And you talk about these tan lots. Those are all R1 districts.
Mhm.
They don't allow multifamily. So you wouldn't be able to assemble properties in an R1. They could build two houses, but they couldn't build a condo building.
or two flats.
If we permit two flats in R1, which again brings a couple hundred buildings into compliance with the code.
Okay. So,
Yeah, property assemblage is we're in a very difficult building environment. You're talking $4,500 a door on new construction, taxes, talking about 9% construction loans. If something like that was going to happen, I know a lot of people have pointed out the 1,200 to 1,600 circle as being all R3. Well, that's going to be part of a future map amendment. I mean, that is completely counterintuitive to have that. And it's, urban planners try and push those high density projects to the edges of town.
okay,
And that ultimately is going to be where the next map amendment is going to address those issues.
Okay.
To your point, I mean, that 12, 13, 14, 1,500 block, if somebody wanted to do it,
right.
theoretically they could do it, but they haven't. It's just not amenable to that.
Right. So, but, so the thing that we have to look at is we have a lot of lots that are 25 to 49 foot lots. And so what ends up happening when we, consider something smaller, and we have a character of Forest Park, and what do we end up saying is not just for the next 5 years, but for the next 15, and without context to go with that. So,
Well, what context are you asking for here? Because 25 to
yeah,
40.
well, we're not, and we don't have to, so we don't need to go further into that, but those are things that, when we look at maps like this, and I'm just responding to this. So your answer helps me understand that.
Okay.
Commissioners, anything?
Trying to think of how to phrase my question. So Director Glinke, what would you say are the benefits? Like, why do we want to do this? Why are you pushing for this?
Successful communities need to grow. The towns that are growing are the ones that are putting concrete in the ground. okay? The guardrails for development are in place. They will remain in place if this passes. That is the employment of best engineering practices. It's the employment of our third-party housing consultants. How have we gotten all these 25-foot lots since 2005 developed? And we haven't heard the hue and cry of, we're making flooding an issue in these neighborhoods, because it doesn't happen, because we employ these practices. We put these guardrails in place to make sure things like that don't happen. The reason the code changed in 2010 is pre-housing crisis. There was a big spike. Specifically, it was one builder who was building exclusively on 25-foot lots, and he was getting zoning relief for all of them. I don't think that's right. I mean, they're big houses. They've endured. They're really good product. They've held their value. But I don't think having a 25-foot buildable lot should come with allowances to exceed the code. So staff wouldn't support any recommendation for extra lot coverage, shorter setbacks. Commissioner, you mentioned a significant setback where we changed the setback on a 25-foot lot from 3 feet to 2.5 feet. Okay, that's 6 inches on each side of the building. In R1, I'm talking about. You're not going to do R3 on a 25-foot lot. And again, you're not going to build multifamily unless you meet MWRD, our engineer, their requirements.
Commissioner Nero, do you have anything?
One quick question.
For who?
Whoever, we have asked how much we've spent so far on the zoning updates. Do we have a total?
40,000.
Total.
Yeah.
And you can give me a copy of the,
We're getting off
Breakdown?
topic,
Okay.
Commissioner.
all right. This all affects.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mellon Ragovan,
I'm sorry, what are we,
This is a vote.
Excuse me.
uh, abstain.
Commissioner Vogt,
No.
Mayor Huskins,
No. Commissioners, next item is an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a maintenance agreement with Telecom Innovations Group for the maintenance of village phone system. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second? Okay, it's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Mellon Ragovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt. Mayor Huskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance O-30-25.
Commissioners, next item is an ordinance approving specifications, waiving a bid, and authorizing the acceptance and execution of a proposal by and between LPS Pavement Company and the village for the Dixon Street brick patching project. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Ragovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance O-31-25.
All right, Commissioners, next item is an ordinance amending the village code with respect to water and sewer rates and charges. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion. There's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance O-32-25.
Commissioners, next item is an ordinance waiving a bid and authorizing the execution of an amendment to the software license and service agreement with Passport Parking, Inc. for a mobile payment parking program. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Discussion? Okay, there's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance O-33-25.
Commissioners, next item is a resolution approving the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the maintenance of municipal streets. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion. Okay, there's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution R-50-25.
Commissioners, next item is a resolution authorizing the approval of pay request number 4 for the 2024 water main replacement project to Boulder Contractors, Inc. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? There's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution R-51-25.
Commissioners, next item is a resolution approving the execution of an Illinois Youth Investment Program linkage agreement with the Proviso Leiden Council for Community Action. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution R-52-25.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, the next item is a motion to direct the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners to offer employment to the next 3 eligible probationary police officers. Is there a motion? Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second?
Nero, second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion. Okay, there's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, next item is a motion seeking approval of a recommendation to appoint Catherine Urich to the library board for a term that expires in 2031. Is there a motion? Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxham. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Discussion. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Commissioner, next item is a motion seeking approval of village and senior trip contracts, and they involve the Park District of Forest Park, Bottle and Bodega, and White Fence Farm. Is there a motion? Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxham. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Discussion. Okay, there's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
Excuse me, Mayor, I have a point of inquiry. If I could interrupt.
Yes.
I'm a little rusty on some of the more unused Roberts rules. So Brian, I'm leaning on you here. May I make a motion to reconsider an earlier vote? To essentially recall the vote.
I'll second.
May I make the motion, Mayor?
Yes, you may.
To reconsider item 1.
Are we
Alright.
talking about the zoning?
Yes.
thing?
Okay, so there's a motion to reconsider zoning by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Discussion.
Can we clarify what essentially abstaining?
So if there's not a majority vote to pass the motion, then it doesn't pass.
But an abstain essentially works in an affirmative?
No, it does not. It doesn't pass.
In this instance,
It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't 2-2. Oh, it wasn't 2-2. Yeah, there wasn't a majority in support of the measure, so it doesn't
Okay.
pass.
Well, now I've made my motion.
Does the commissioner want to take another vote on this item? Or do you want to withdraw your motion to reconsider?
Can I amend my vote?
I don't know. Do we need to?
Well, first, we need to have a vote on the motion to reconsider.
Okay.
Then somebody needs to make another motion to do it. Have it second and then take a vote. Have discussion.
All right.
Right now, as it stands, it did not pass.
All right. So let's leave it there.
Then I will rescind my motion. Thank you.
It's under second. I'm gonna just close the case.
Have you rescinded your second?
I will rescind.
Okay. All right, commissioners, we're back on the agenda. We're at item number 12. The next item is a motion seeking approval of a raffle license permit for the Groove in the Grove events. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Vogt and seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, Commissioners, the last item under new business this evening is a motion for use of the public way. This is for the Forest Park Arts Alliance and for the Kingdom Running Club. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Discussion?
Yes. We have questions about or discussion about the Forest Park Arts Alliance proposal. Was unclear. There was a reference to a diagram, and I know I didn't see a diagram in the packet for the number of tables proposed in the Constitution Court. So did anybody else see a diagram?
Yeah, I haven't talked about this with anybody, so I don't really
Yeah.
have any of the documents, but it does say includes a sketch of layout with measurements. And we haven't seen any of that. And I have some questions just about like installation and et cetera, so.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we, unless staff has adequate documentation now, which it doesn't look like we do, why don't we take this item off the motion,
I
off the
think
main
that's a good
motion,
idea.
and approve the Kingdom Running Club, and then we can revisit the Arts Alliance.
I agree. Yep.
Okay, is there a motion on use of public way for the Kingdom Running Club?
I'll make the motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
That's like,
Okay, it's been seconded. Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, that concludes our new business for this evening. We are at Administrator's Report.
Commissioners, I just quickly checked my email to see if I had that document. I didn't see it upon my quick search, but I will work to get that to you. Also, just wanted to say thank you to all of our departments. May has been extremely busy. They have definitely, staff has put in a lot of extra work this month with some extra events. And I just want to acknowledge that I appreciate the time that they have put in. Several this time of year, it's getting warmer out. We're doing more outdoor events. We're doing more events on the weekends. I just want to acknowledge the time that staff puts in here. Also means that they are, taking time away from their own families to be with us. So I just want to acknowledge and thank people for the time that they're putting in. That's all I have at the moment.
Thank you, Administrator. We're at Commissioners' Reports. Commissioner Maxim.
Really briefly, I wanted to just thank all my colleagues on the board and staff for the really great meeting on Friday to talk about the Altenheim. I just felt invigorated. I thought it was an excellent conversation about a pretty difficult topic, and everyone was prepared and engaged. I thought that was fabulous. And then I went to 2 Memorial Day celebrations over the weekend, or I don't know if they're celebrations or I guess memorials. One of them was at Woodlawn Cemetery where the pastor gave a really compelling talk. I was very moved. And then the other one was at the Park Districts. They were sort of officially cutting the ribbon for the splash pad at one of their parks. And one of the great things about that is their current board president, Tim Gillen, talked about the partnership that the village had made with the park district to get those pocket parks run through the park district. And I, just kind of want to remind everyone that we have had a really great relationship with the park district, and we should continue to work on projects with them because it's better for the taxpayers and it's better for the village. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Mellon Rogovan.
Thank you. I think this past 2 weeks has been a really great example of partnerships across the village. Last week, many of us on the council attended the Blue and Gold dinner for our Cub Scouts at Grant White. It was an incredible example of the leadership of our parents, Scout leaders, the partnership between the village partners and D91 and our families as kids had a leadership growth experience. And I think a lot, we all were very moved to be a part of that experience with them. And I think the families loved seeing us there. The Historical Society gave a tour to D91 students, Mr. Studer's class. Amy Binns Calvi gave a tour of local history at the cemetery. Of course, it was Public Works Week, and what started with an eventful week in the village ended with recognizing, or was a week of recognizing our Public Works staff and the tremendous service they provide us. Ended with a great event on Saturday and electronics recycling and a tremendous open house with Touch a Trucks and our village residents enjoying visiting with the team that they value so much. And I agree, the meeting that we had about discussing the placement of our water reservoirs was a very rewarding experience. And the Memorial Day observations that we had across our village, both at the Park District and at Woodlawn Cemetery, were very moving, and was a great example again of how we come together across the village to observe the service and sacrifice of our military veterans and how they've given all so that we can be free. Just want to remind everyone that our Bike Safety Carnival is this Saturday, once again at the Roos, and it starts at 9 a.m. and it's going to be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Melvin. Commissioner Vogt.
Thanks. It has indeed been a very busy month. I want to first say that our cleanup event was phenomenal. We had, I think about 80 people volunteer for that. And we had some wonderful treats from U3 Coffee Roasters and Twisted Cookie. And we want to thank resident Mark Boroff for his very generous donation of t-shirts for the volunteers. And my buddy Dean, who made the logo. And then just want to thank everyone on the rec board, Public Works. And I really want to thank Chief Hinkes for coming. Her and Brian, it was wonderful to have them join us. It really meant a lot. And just want to thank all the volunteers for making the 5th annual spring cleanup such a great success. So thank you all for that. And again, the Public Works open house, they're working extra hard on Public Works Week. But we really thank them for their efforts, and the electronics recycling seemed like it was like crazy successful. I don't think I've ever seen that many skids or whatever they are full of electronics. So thank you for putting that together, and for Verigy coming out to share information with everyone about the water meters. It was great. This week, all of us were showing up at things. So it was really fun to have all of us at all of these different events. The Cub Scout Blue and Gold event was really great. I think one of their chair said they were very proud of their pack and we should look for great things from those kids. And I really agree. And then special thanks to all of you, and certainly to the mayor for calling the special meeting. That should be, I think, our first and what will be, a handful of meetings, but it was awesome to be able to just talk through things and ideas with each other, and really be able to take the time to do that, because it is a big decision that's going to affect the village for the long term. So I just want to thank you all for that as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Vogt. Last week, I sat down with the executive director of Thrive Counseling Centers. This is an organization that serves the Tri-Village area. And the executive director indicated that they'd like to provide services to residents of Forest Park and possibly to employees in the village. So we're looking for ways to incorporate them into what we do here. We'll be connecting the counseling centers executive director to our health board to help with the mental health assessment and to learn from some of the work that the health board is doing. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to join Village President Kathy Aducci of River Forest in that community's 100th Memorial Day parade. It was a huge parade and a very successful parade. Some of our first responders provided support in terms of traffic control and other aspects. And then we continue to monitor discussions around transit reform in Springfield. We've been in constant communications with our legislators. And more recently, we've been in communication with CTA. And so we hope that whatever results in Springfield, we'll continue to have an open line of communication. And we can hopefully see a system that better addresses some of our needs here in Forest Park, especially as relates to the 7-Eleven Des Plaines location, which is the end of the blue line. So that concludes my commissioner's report. And so now the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Was there a second? It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxham. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Mellon Ragoven.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt. Mayor Hoskins.
Aye, we stand adjourned.